North Sentinel Island is located in the Bay of Bengal, part of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which belong to India. It lies to the west of the southern part of South Andaman Island and is surrounded by coral reefs, making it difficult to approach by boat. Geographically, it's isolated and remote, which has helped preserve the Sentinelese tribe's way of life for thousands of years. The Indian government has placed strict restrictions on traveling to the island to protect both the tribe and outsiders from potential harm or disease transmission. The North Sentinel Island, part of India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands, is home to one of the world's most isolated and mysterious tribes, the Sentinelese. This indigenous group has resisted contact with the outside world for thousands of years and is believed to have lived on the island for over 60,000 years. Their exact population remains unknown, estimated between 50 to 150 individuals. What makes the Sentinelese so intriguing is their complete rejection of modern civilization. They aggressively defend their territory against outsiders, using bows and arrows, and have even been known to kill intruders. The Indian government has declared the island off limits to protect both the tribe and outsiders, as the Sentinelese lack immunity to common diseases. Fascinatingly, despite no formal agriculture or known fire usage, the tribe survives by hunting, fishing, and gathering, showcasing deep-rooted survival instincts. Their language is unique and undeciphered, and no one knows much about their rituals, beliefs, or internal societal structure, making them one of the most enigmatic human cultures on Earth. The North Sentinelese tribe is isolated because they have chosen to remain that way for thousands of years, and they fiercely protect their isolation. Self-protection and ancestral tradition. The Sentinelese have lived independently for over 60,000 years. They see outsiders as threats, possibly because of violent or disease-spreading past encounters. Staying isolated helps them preserve their ancient way of life. Lack of immunity. They have had very little exposure to modern diseases, and something as simple as a common cold could wipe out their entire population. That's why the Indian government has banned contact to protect them from illness. Hostile reactions to outsiders. Every attempt to make contact, even by researchers or missionaries, has been met with aggression, like flying arrows. This has reinforced the global understanding that they want to be left alone. Geographical isolation. North Sentinel Island is surrounded by coral reefs, making it hard to approach. Its natural barriers also helped them stay disconnected from the rest of the world. So, the tribe's isolation is a mix of voluntary seclusion, government protection, and natural barriers, all combining to keep one of the last truly uncontacted peoples on Earth hidden from the modern world. People have known about North Sentinel Island for centuries, but detailed awareness of the Sentinelese tribe and their unique isolation came much later. The island appeared on British naval charts in the late 18th century, around 1771, when a British surveyor named John Ritchie observed lights on the island from a distance. However, no one made direct contact at that time. The real curiosity began in 1867 when an Indian merchant ship named Nineveh was shipwrecked near the island. The crew survived for a few days before being attacked by the tribe. This incident caught colonial attention and marked one of the first known hostile interactions. Later, in the 1880s, the British tried to make formal contact. A British officer, Maurice Vidal Portman, led expeditions to the island. He kidnapped a few members, 2 adults and a few children, but the adults soon died, likely from disease. He returned the children with gifts, but the tribe remained distrustful. From the mid-20th century onwards, India officially took administrative control, but contact attempts were few and far between. In the 1970s to 1990s, as Indian anthropologists made some cautious contact missions, dropping coconuts and gifts from boats. But every time, the Sentinelese responded with hostility. The Indian ship Nineveh, a merchant vessel that got shipwrecked near North Sentinel Island in 1867 during British colonial times. The Nineveh was carrying a crew of 106 people, including Indian and Burmese workers. It hit the reef surrounding North Sentinel Island and was wrecked. The survivors managed to make it to the shore and set up a temporary camp on the island. For 3 days, things were relatively calm until the Sentinelese appeared from the jungle, armed with bows, arrows, and spears. The tribe began attacking the survivors, forcing them to flee and defend themselves with sticks and whatever they could find. Eventually, a British Royal Navy rescue party arrived and rescued all 106 survivors. But this incident deeply impressed colonial authorities, who realized the Sentinelese were extremely hostile and protective of their land. This event is considered one of the earliest recorded direct interactions between the outside world and the Sentinelese, and it set the tone for all future contact: stay away or else. The world became especially aware of the island in 2006 when the tribe killed 2 fishermen who drifted too close. Then again in 2018, when American missionary John Allen Chau was killed trying to preach Christianity to them. So, while the island has been known for over 250 years, the mystery and respect for the tribe's isolation only grew significantly in the last few decades. In 1991, Madhumala Chattopadhyay became part of a government-led expedition to study the isolated tribes of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. She was actually the first Indian woman anthropologist to visit North Sentinel Island and one of the very few people ever to experience a non-hostile interaction with the Sentinelese. Her crew approached the island by boat and followed a cautious method. They brought coconuts as gifts, which were considered valuable by the tribe. When they reached the shore, instead of hostility, the Sentinelese showed curiosity. The tribe actually waded into the water to collect the coconuts being floated towards them. Madhumala and the team avoided stepping on the island, respecting the tribe's space. She recalled that the Sentinelese seemed more open to women in the group and may have felt less threatened. One iconic moment? A Sentinelese man gestured that he wanted more coconuts, and Madhumala personally floated them over. That rare peaceful exchange was historic, and it remains one of the very few recorded non-violent encounters. Despite this positive contact, the Indian government eventually halted all such missions, realizing that even well-intentioned contact could spread disease or disrupt the tribe's world. Madhumala later wrote about the experience, emphasizing respect, observation, and zero interference, a golden rule when it comes to ancient, isolated tribes like the Sentinelese. John Allen Chau was a 26-year-old American Christian missionary and adventurer. Born in the US, he had a passion for survival training, missionary work, and traveling to remote parts of the world. He was deeply religious and believed it was his spiritual calling to bring Christianity to uncontacted tribes, particularly the Sentinelese. He spent years preparing, studying medicine, survival techniques, and even getting vaccinated and quarantined to reduce the risk of spreading disease to the tribe. What happened on North Sentinel Island? In November 2018, Chau illegally paid local fishermen to take him near North Sentinel Island, even though Indian law strictly forbids anyone from going within 5 nautical miles, 9.26 kilometers, of the island to protect both visitors and the tribe. First attempt, he approached the island in a kayak and tried to communicate with the tribe by yelling things like "Jesus loves you" and offering gifts like a football and fish. The Sentinelese responded with arrows and forced him to retreat. Second attempt, he tried again, hoping to build a relationship. At one point, an arrow struck his Bible, which he took as a spiritual sign. Third and final attempt, he went back alone, telling the fishermen to leave and come back later. When they returned, they saw his body being dragged across the beach by the Sentinelese. The Indian authorities never recovered his body, respecting the tribal laws and avoiding further disturbance. Why is this such a big deal? Chow's story sparked huge global debates. Was he brave and devoted, or was he reckless and disrespectful? Many anthropologists criticized him for risking the lives of the Sentinelese, who have no immunity to modern diseases. Others saw it as a tragic clash of faith, law, and cultural boundaries. In the end, John Allen Chow became a symbol. Some see him as a martyr, others as a cautionary tale of modern intrusion into ancient worlds. In March 2025, Mikhailo Viktorovich Polyakov, a 24-year-old American YouTuber from Arizona, illegally entered North Sentinel Island in India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands to make contact with the isolated Sentinelese tribe. This tribe is one of the most secluded in the world, with no immunity to modern diseases, making such contact extremely dangerous. Polyakov set out alone in a modified inflatable boat from Kurmadera Beach near Port Blair on 29 March, carrying a coconut and a can of Diet Coke as offerings. He attempted to attract attention by blowing a whistle and filming his actions, but after about 5 minutes, he left the items on the beach and returned to shore. Local fishermen reported his activities, leading to his arrest on 31 March. He is currently in judicial custody, facing charges under Indian law that prohibits unauthorized entry within 3 nautical miles of the island. Polyakov has a history of risky travels, including a trip to Afghanistan to meet the Taliban. His actions have drawn widespread condemnation from indigenous rights groups, who view his behavior as reckless and dangerous, both to himself and to the vulnerable tribe. This incident has reignited global debates about the ethics and risks of attempting to contact uncontacted tribes.